Everything should look good. So I'll go right into it because we got a lot of people here today, at least over quite a bit. So and I want to make sure I cover everything today. So I am monitoring the chat. Please feel free to stop me. I like it real time. This is a very casual, free flow presentation of all the unique tools that Trading Central Insights they're provided to you, free of charge at being a Firstrade client, which is fantastic. So today, again, brief overview of all the tools we're going to be presenting today. I'll just move over on my slide here, and there we go. So just before we go, who am I, right? Who's the screen today? My name is Gary Christie. I head Trading Central's North American research desk. I'm in Ottawa, Canada, and our analyst team, we have a global analyst team, 10 analysts. I run the New York or North American office here with a team of analysts, and we're covering all products worldwide into terms of futures, commodities, FX, equities globally. So our job here is to provide coverage to institutions all around the world and create these wonderful insights and software to help traders become, consistently profitable, more successful traders, and help with the research process. As we know, research can be very time-consuming. Our job here is to make that easy for you, and we're going to show you how we do that today with some interesting tools. But that's me here. I've been a trader for a very long time. I work for various banks on the options market side. So I'm an options specialist by trade and technical analyst. And I was hired at Trading Central almost 10 years ago now to be for my technical analysis skills. And now we've moved on to making unique products, which you will see today. And I have a wonderful pleasure of showing you today. But that's me here. Most of my time is spent managing clients' portfolios, watch lists in terms of direction from a technical perspective and helping with trading plans for institutions to when to enter and exit. And a lot of those tools you have access to today. So we'll show you that in this presentation. So again, what we'll go through here, I'll tell you a little bit about Trading Central and what we do. Although I briefly touched on it just now, we'll talk about some interesting insights available to you at Firstrade. News Buzz is a new way to disseminate market news, technical insight, which is the technical analysis automation, and how we can help you do your homework overnight and automate a lot of the research if you're a technical trader like I am. And we'll go over Strategy Builder as well. Maybe you like technicals and fundamentals or just fundamentals. We can also help you design a strategy that fits your requirements as well in this inside the platform. And a very interesting intuitive calendar we'll go over to really understand the economic landscape and what's happening throughout the week, as you should be aware when you're trading. So again, a quick disclaimer, this goes toward Trading Central and Firstrade. I'm not here to give advice today, although that may be my primary job as a market professional on the institutional side. Today is more about tools available to you on the platform and how you can take advantage of them to really power your decision-making process. So you'll see real charts today and real data. This is not advice at all or promotion by us. These are charts you're going to see today are textbook theory and pattern recognition, which is not advice, but it's more about what's happening in the actual market in terms of price action, and we can't deny that. We'll see some real data today, but don't take it as a buy or sell recommendation, of course. Now that the lawyers are happy, we'll move on and talk about Trading Central as a whole and who we are. So we've been around for some time, about 20 years now. In fact, we're actually celebrating our 25th year anniversary this month, which we can't wait for. So we've been around for quite some time as technical analysts. We have a 20-year plus track record now of managing portfolios and trades, and this is kind of what we've done for years. And now we've branched off to all aspects of the fintech space, which we'll show into today, which is why we're talking today. So again, leaders in fundamental quantitative research worldwide. We have a labs in France. Our headquarters is actually in Paris, France. That's where we were founded, and we have a team of analysts there. And then, of course, I'm in Ottawa that handles New York hours, which is why I'm talking to you today, where we cover all the North American assets, Canada and US. Despite the fact that I'm in Canada, majority of my work is for US-based equities and futures and FX. And then we also have a Hong Kong team. So our Hong Kong team will also cover the analysis. So we kind of hand over our work in a 24-hour clock, basically 7 days a week. We're constantly doing research, and we're handing our research over to continue over from myself into Asia, and they cover the markets and technicals, and it gets passed over to France, and so on and so on. So that's one of the unique traits of Trading Central. We're a worldwide 24-hour company, 24 hours a day operating to really help our clients have the best and valuable insights. You could definitely see more of what we do at tradingcentral.com. I encourage you to take a look where we come from. All our bios are there, our team is there, and all our unique features and products. But luckily for you, Firstrade has all our products, so we're going to go through those today. And at the first one, I'll do a brief introduction on these slides just to show you what to look at. And if you have an account, absolutely log in. You can go ahead and play along with me and go through these tabs and to really explore. Because there's a lot of information here. It could be a little bit overwhelming at first, but once you realize the main concepts, you're gonna have a great time. And it's supposed to be fun, right? So this is all fun and engaging software that we develop at Trading Central. And the first one you'll see here. This is a screenshot right from Firstrade, and you're going to see, we have a markets and news sentiment. And just to give you a brief overview of what this is, it's a new way to glance at the news quickly and get the most important information and then move on. No one wants to spend hours reading news articles. At least I don't. Some people do. I get that. But the whole point here is to get the most the interesting news that's market moving first, and not have too many articles in front of you that give you missed signals. So we've developed sentiment around news. We can our NLP engine and the power of our AI, we can go ahead and scan the market for all articles and keywords and get what's relevant to you at the forefront. So less time spent on news, but you have the most relevant information in front of you, which is what we want. And again, this is part of that sentiment. So this is an example of NVIDIA polled a couple, recently. This is probably changed now, but we will give you an overall sentiment signal based on all the news points, if they're bullish or bearish in terms of subjectivity, how the biasness of the article. We can go ahead and dig down right in the analytics of all these thousands and thousands of articles a day and give you an overall theme. In this case here, it looks like it was quite bearish in February 27th for NVIDIA, with a low sentiment score. And we'll get into all this. Now, there's a lot of products, again, at Firstrade, so super happy to be a partner with them at Trading Central. Each one topic deserves its own presentation, which we'll have down the line. So again, I can't cover everything today, just to give you the little tips of how we use it as professionals to hopefully help your day and how planning your research. And then look to the future for more presentations and webinars on each individual product, because they do deserve their own presentation. Today is just to show you, with our new partnership, all the features available. One of the most popular ones is Technical Insight. That's the next tab over. Again, you can find these under the Discover tab, and I'll show you how to get there in a real live demo in a few minutes. But Technical Insight is one of our longest standing products. This is where we can go ahead and identify unique classic patterns, any kind of technical events, like you may be familiar with the MACD, RSI, commodity channel index, moving average crossovers. Well, we do all of this real time every day for you on all instruments, which is quite phenomenal. So, and the point of this is to help you with your research. So you can set, maybe you're a technical trader that only uses certain technical patterns that you trust and you like, based on your own methodology. Well, now you can automate that. And then every morning you can get an email to say which stocks met your criteria. And then you can look and focus on those for trade opportunities. And this is all about trade idea generation. Is what we care about the most here. Extremely passionate about that. So Technical Insight, again, automated technical analysis. And these are all the events that we can calculate for you. So kind of gone are the days where you have to sit in front of a screen like I did as a technical analyst and hand draw and try to identify events, which is really a lot like an art form. The more you see, the more you get used to certain patterns. So to alleviate all that, now it's all automated. Software has become, technology has become so advanced that we can go ahead and detect all these types of interesting chart pattern setups automatically for you. All you have to do is select the ones you like and choose which ones have the best quality in your own opinion, and then execute. But this is all textbook theory. This is not giving advice as to buy or sell. It's giving you the pure technical math behind the patterns to tell you if there's an opportunity or not. But we'll go over some of these today. This is I could spend hours talking about this alone. That's my passion in trading. But of course, there's other ways to trade. Of course, there's no right or wrong answer in the markets when you're trading. but we'll move on. So the next one for those that do have their own methodology, Strategy Builder is the third tab over. And this has many things, but the first thing you're looking at here is themes. So our analyst team will go ahead and curate the most popular themes in the quarter or the year or what's happening last week, and we'll create these watch lists or themes of stocks that meet these criteria to help you if you want to focus on a specific market, say just energy or defense stocks. We're here to help you with the research. That's our biggest passion, is helping you save time. So themes do that. And then you also have the expert strategies, where you can follow along with what our team does. We build a lot of strategies, which I'll show you in the platform in a few minutes, or you can create your own strategy based on fundamental and technical data, which is extremely powerful. And then you can back test it over 5 years to see how that would have worked. And this is the product that drives a lot of engagement, where you want to try to create the best possible screen with the best performance based on the benchmark you select. And then you can really develop your own portfolio based on your own methodology. You could be your own little mini hedge fund per se. So again, trying to empower users to back test and test out strategies in different market environments. That's Strategy Builder. And let's just jump right into it, right? So I know I only got maybe 25, 30 minutes. It's fast. If I'm too fast, throw questions in the box. I'll get to them. But I'll just switch over to Firstrade. I'll make sure I'm logged in still. There we go. So here's Firstrade homepage. When I log in, I'm on a demo account right now just to show you the features. Again, because I'm not allowed to have an account as being a Canadian. That's too bad. Maybe someday and the politicians will change that. But we'll move on to where do you find the research and tools? Well, under research and tools, right away you'll have Discover. That's a new feature. We're a new partnership. You'll have a lot of tools in here to help you. But first off, what should you do in this landing page? Right, you have a lot of information here, right? You can customize if you had a portfolio in here. I would have symbols, order status. You can get the context of the market. Looks like we're having a pretty red day in U.S. equities right now. S&P down almost 1%, NASDAQ almost down 2%, but maybe in this presentation we're getting a nice bounce. So we'll see if we can find some ideas in the platform. But that's your overall overview. Again, I'm not an expert on the page, more of our tools, of course, but I encourage you to log in, try it out. The look and feel is fantastic, right? So when I click on Discover, that's what we want to focus on today. What I just showed in my presentation slides is what you're seeing right now. And with defaults here based on how I selected it last, markets and news. Now, with all these tabs powered by Trading Central Insights, most of them, not all of them, but they're all relevant. So I kind of wanted to share with you my workflow as a professional trader. It's what we do here at our desk at Trading Central, and how we start our day, right? And everyone's different, but I think real use cases are more valuable than just talking about points. So looking here, if you scroll down to the bottom, to start off the day, it makes the most perfect sense. We've got free morning brief newsletters, technical screens already prefigured for you. All you require here is just a quick email subscribe, right? Click on it, shove in your email address, and you're off to the races. So for me, it's like, Gary, let's see here, Christie, it's tradingcentral.com, boom, done, and subscribe, and go ahead and subscribe to it, right? So simple as that. When you're subscribed, you can see an example here as well. Boom, done. But this is kind of how we start our day with our analyst team, because we produce this newsletter, the morning brief. I'll show you an example of today's. By clicking on it, you get a new window, right? And all these things matter before you start your day. So we got a pre-market session. We give you our actual technical analysis. This is usually the charts we provide at an institutional level that now you're getting at the retail level, which is fantastic. You get a context of the trend this morning. It looks like the trend has not changed since we did this around 7 a.m. Eastern time. But if you click on the link, you can go ahead and get our S&P 500 intraday futures index. So despite the fact that if you trade futures or not, and the platform doesn't trade futures, we always use it before market opens to get a nice context of the market before real trading starts in terms of the equity side. So you can get the bias for the day, which is extremely important starting off. So you get the morning brief of all the major commodities, crude oil, our analyst opinion, and our pivot levels, which is our stop loss level. So if I click on crude oil, actually gold's been pretty hot today. So if I click on 2106 is our stop loss pivot and we have a target, these are all actionable news. We like this. It's a pretty nice uptrend in gold today. That looks like that's been continuing since we've been talking. So 2106 is a nice support level. So looking at this technical picture, this is what we call technical views, which you have access to in our news feed in this inside Firstrade, where we'll give you 2 targets of resistance and 3 support if you're bullish, or vice versa if you're bearish. And anytime we cross this blue line, 2106, our trend has changed, and we focus on the downside support levels. Clearly, you can see here at 2088 was a major support level, 2079, the nice consolidation zone. That's what we're looking for. So, and we always provide a relative strength picture just to show the strength of the trend. Do we have some more upside or not? In this case, it looks like we had a lot more upside. It's been trending for a few days. But this is all, again, free analysis you're getting if you subscribe to the newsletter or log in and click on the open, and you can go ahead and play around with that. There's lots more information here, mainly the text. One of the benefits of having a global team of analysts is when I'm sleeping and enjoying my sleep, my colleagues in Paris, France, are writing up this news based on the pre-market and overnight hours of what's happened in the US markets and European markets and Asian markets. So you get before the bell summary of what has happened and what's happening in the US. It looks like we were negative right on yesterday. So, and then we can see what's coming in terms of economic news, what to look for today. I know today's big ISM numbers were really setting the index to a red zone today in the US. Of course, understand what's happened in Europe to see if that's going to follow through to the US Open. That's important. And then what happened in Asia, right? Of course, all this matters when you're trading globally these days. And then a quick comment on crude because it's a popular commodity that people trade in terms of ETFs and commodities, futures, so on and so on. There's a US snapshot of stocks as well, of what happened after hours last night and pre-market in the morning, what to look for. In the case, we got Target on deck for earnings, expected to jump as full year sales, I guess, really beat forecasts. So that's pretty interesting. AMD is another big news orienter. It looks like the U.S. government blocked the sale of AI chip to China. So I guess that's something we'll probably look in the news feed in a second. But this is all to help make sure you have a nice feel for the market before we start trading, and some more earnings to expect. And then there's an economic calendar in here, which you have access to at Firstrade as well. Click on the calendar section inside the Discovery tab. And you can see the most popular ones today, ISM services and factory orders, which kind of helped put our markets in the red today. Any IPOs will be here as well, if there's anything worth noting. There's the outlook per charts. And then we also have technical events as well. This automated technical events where we're combining multiple things here. So we have a snapshot of an interesting stock. This is Southern Copper Corp, SCCO. We have a nice price change, technical score from automation on the long-term and short-term trend. And we have this new quant rating, which really, it's a quantitative fundamental approach to analysis where we look at all financial ratios in a stock, and then we rank it among other stocks in its sector. So right now for a quant trading, to be above 60 is very strong. It's at 100. And this is a quick way to know that the fundamentals are aligned, right? So we're not all about technicals here. We have technicals on the side, but the quant rating is really our AI-driven quant model that uses a bunch of factor scores, which we'll show you in a minute inside our strategy builder product. So notable stocks for sure. Again, free newsletter, and there's a lot more here as well, right? So technical snapshots. If I open up that, you're going to get the same thing, but a lot more ideas. IBM is in here with the quant rating, Medtronic today. It changes every day based on the math behind it, right? We explain to you why it's featured, what it means. Looks like energy has been on the radar with weak fundamentals, but the trend's been changing, it looks like, clearly. So again, all around there just to help you with ideas. And then same thing with the ETF market report. Strictly those that are interested in ETFs, you can go ahead and see the best ideas of the best coming out daily on ETFs in terms of technical moves. We love to see actual patterns because Again, this is part of a whole presentation we give on technical analysis, but classic patterns give us those measured move target prices, where we can actually help in more the predictive nature of when that pattern is confirmed, it usually yields us a target price, up or down. So again, that alone, tons of ideas in equities, right? So there's no shortage of trying to find ideas to trade, and that's all coming right to your inbox every morning. And also when you log in, you can go ahead and take a look at these. So feel free to subscribe. That's the first step I usually do in the morning. Have my lovely coffee and go through the articles. Even as working for Trading Central, I'm always fascinated to see what our team has written because I've been sleeping overnight. It's nice to know what's happening in the markets. So from that, as we move on, markets and news is the kind of one of the two next steps, right? So I want to see from that article, the news articles, what has been talked about. And here there's a new interesting way to disseminate the news, which is pretty interactive and fun, where the larger the bubble here, the more mentions, but you can change it to whatever you want. So if it's top buzzing, you can see which stocks are being talked about the most. Looks like we have Target. I know it's because of earnings. We have Tesla, which always seems to be in the news. But you can change the country as well, right? Pretty global. Of course, this is going to default to USA, but you get access to other countries as well for stocks. I'm keeping it here. And then you can go ahead and do top buzzing, or you can say what's been mentioned in the last 24 hours. There's Tesla, Apple, Nvidia, kind of the fan man stocks. It makes sense. AMD, of course, is in here. Big talker today. And then you can go ahead and change to the time frame, right? So I like, what's top buzzing. You can change the color to trend analysis, right? Based on our Trading Central analytics, which may take a time to load because it's a pretty in-depth database, but here we go. We can see targets based on price action, which is, again, enough ideas right here. If I click on Tesla right now, I can get a nice news analytics overview. Again, this is all about giving you the most relevant news instead of having to read through a bunch of text every day. Who's got time for that? I want to get the most important topics and move on. That's news buzz, which is critical before you start trading, right? In my opinion. So we get the overall mentions. If there's a lot of news talking, we're analyzing the entire market and looking for anything that mentions Tesla in a bullish or bearish manner. And then we've gone ahead and said, okay, the trend's been higher than usual, right? You can go ahead and read these definitions. The mentioned sources, where it's coming from, the web of news or social. The trend analysis I just talked to you about is actually right from that very similar look to the newsletter in the morning. So you get access to all our, I would say, institutional research and our trading plans for each stock. So it looks like we're looking at a rebound on Tesla and the reason why from the technicals. I won't go into all of this, right? Because I got about 10 minutes to 50 minutes to show all these products. But you see all our main key support and resistance levels right here available to you. And you can change that. You can put in the stock like NVIDIA, right? Click on it, and instantly you're going to get the news feed. So it looks like it's below average news in this case. Price is also extremely bullish. As we've all seen with NVIDIA, it's been soaring. But at least now you know maybe where to put a stop loss, 716, near that 20 period moving average. Quite interesting. And the whole trading plans. These are all unique trading plans that we use on a daily basis. Now, if you want to know the most talked about discussion of what drives this product, you can click on, I see here, people are talking about revenue increase, right? If I click on that, it's going to go ahead and give us all the articles that pertain to that subject. So this is, we talk about our advanced NLP, looking at all articles and trying to disseminate what really matters, right, in terms of the news. And you can go ahead and just click on that one article and go and read the story, and so on and so on. I won't do that today, but you can go through all our articles that pertain to NVIDIA. So again, a nice new fun way to look at news without having to read a bunch of text and give you the real sentiment. So, and in fact, if I click on sentiment, you're going to see now, based on the news, maybe the market's predicting that, or trying to predict that maybe NVIDIA's a little too hot right now. So we have a bearish sentiment signal. Sentiment score is pretty low. Again, it tells you how the crowd feels about a financial instrument, ranging from very negative to very positive. This is all crowd sentiment based on news articles and the bias in those articles. All right, so I'll let you play with that. There's a lot of history here. You can see the history on it. When it gets bullish, how does the stock react? When it's bearish in the news, is it a contrarian indicator? All right, some stocks do react on the opposite way. But there's a lot you can play with here in the news side. I won't go through all of it, but really just to focus on what I like to do here is look at the table and really look at top buzzing in terms of news sentiment. right? And here you see now we have a buzz scored super high and the bullish or bearishness of that news in terms of sentiment. So a lot you can do here. And again, you can put any stock you want in here. And we also cover it for even commodities if you're curious, indices, global indices, and of course currencies, even crypto, which has been a big top mover today. Of course, the crypto making record highs today. You can go ahead and see the sentiment on that. See what are people talking about in terms of news. So possibilities are endless. Again, you can see price target raise. I guess everyone's bullish in crypto in this case in Bitcoin, and you can see those articles. So play around with it. I won't spend too much more time on that. It deserves its own presentation. That's not the point of me being here today. It's just to show you how we use it as a professional and how you can too, right? So that's your first stop. After reading your morning news articles, you can dig into the news if you want to know more about it. It's all coming from here. Extremely powerful. The next thing, if you're on the news subject, is the calendar on the far right. And the calendar is interesting because now we're getting interesting events happening and their movement on currency. So a lot of people have different US dollar accounts. You don't have to be trading FX to see the power of this tool. But here you can see we can help you monitor and act on market moving events. So not all economic events matter in terms of volatility. And we try to help you read that as quick as possible and focus on what matters the most. So if I hit let's go. Okay, there's a whole tour. I'm their live tour, so you can follow that along on yourself, but I'll tell you right now how we use it, right? So today I click on March 5th, right? And I can select the countries I care about in here. Maybe I'm biased, like Canada and the USA. I'm looking for economic events, and I can say medium or high importance. And you can see right there, I've gone ahead and just wiped out all the hundreds of indicators and technical events that don't matter to me. Today, we already had this today. So this is kind of the context of what happened in today's market. Factory orders were down, although less than expected, it looks like. And ISM services PMI also looks like it was down. So again, when I click on one of these, and what's coming up next, there's a red line here, tells you what's coming up next. For today, not a lot, Fed bars talking, but maybe I want to prepare for tomorrow. I can do today and tomorrow, right? So now I can go ahead and look at March 6th. We got ADP employment change. That's a popular one that's hot. And of course, the big Bank of Canada interest rate decision, which of course I follow closely being Canadian. And it looks like they're going to hold rates the same. There's like an 82% chance they're going to keep it at 5% in Canada. And the Fed will talk in about 15 days. They're also looking to stay steady on rates, with a possible cuts maybe in June, at least in Canada. So, but these are all here. And when I click on, I'll use this as an example for tomorrow. Let's say I'm planning for tomorrow's trading day. I click on it, right? You get the definition of what it means. We measured pip volatility for currencies 4 hours past the event, right? And then if I go, you can add this to your calendar, which is phenomenal, all these events, the ones that matter to you. But if I click on charts, this is where we get into real fun of the data. So it's not just about telling you what's expected to move, what happened last period. You have access to the entire trend of all economic data and forecasts. Did they beat estimates or not? So it looks like obviously here we've capped it at 5% for this example of the Bank of Canada rate, but you can see the volatility and you can see what happens after the announcements. So this is an extremely powerful tool where you can prepare a trade. Again, not every broker has Forex trading. It's more important to know the volatility, in my opinion, especially as someone like me who's Canadian dollars that trades US dollars. That will affect your portfolio. We have dual accounts of currencies. That's why I like to use this. But you can change the time frame to 1 hour after the event or up to 4 hours after the event. What happens to a certain pair? Or maybe what happens when it's always above forecast. Not a great example because I'm using Bank of Canada rate decision, but you can see the average pip range. 71 pips is just pretty big. If I click something more interesting, like ADP employment change, right, and click on charts, we can see a bunch of data in the forecast in the past. So the orange buttons, the forecasted, and then the dark blue or purple was what I actually reported. And now you can see how this is pretty valuable in trying to figure out the sentiment around this topic. Looks like most of the times, the last 8 times, we ended up bullish on this report 4 hours after the event. And the average 2 range for currency pairs. So that's economic calendar. You can see the impact. You can see the chart as well, by the way. So you can, and this is pretty neat on a currency pair, US dollar CAD, or my default currency, obviously. When this event happened 1 hour after, it slid last time quite a bit, and the average pip move. So there's a lot of information here. You can spend a good half an hour to an hour playing around with economic calendar. There's so much data. You can look at all the price history, even for crude oil, things like that, the stock change. I look at charts, boom, there's all the inventory level changes. Let's say we've been excess barrels of 4 million last, way above expected in February 28th. But all this information is available to you to play around with. Again, I won't go through all of that. There's a lot here. Yeah, pretty cool. So that's the economic calendar. So that's the next phase I do from the market brief. Look at the news that interests me. Look at the calendar. What should I be aware of? You can do this for the entire week, by the way. You can change it to whatever you need. So and by country. Maybe I only care about the US. Most people in this call today would only care about the US. There you go. I can go through the whole week and plan my day accordingly. All right. And then if you have questions, we have an FAQ in there, no problem. So moving on to the next one. The fun one really for me is technical insight. All right. So now we're jumping into the pattern recognition, automated pattern recognition. This is where I spend a lot of my time between this and Strategy Builder as well. Looking at my most recently viewed stocks will be here, and it'll be different for every user. It knows when you log in, it'll remember what you've done in the past. This is unique to me, but it may look different for you based on the symbols you searched inside the product. So what's important to note here? You got the most viewed bullish at Firstrade, right? So what's people are looking at? Tesla, Uber, Taiwan Semiconductor, a lot of tech names, AMD, interesting. You can view them all if you want. The most popular names that are generally put into the symbol search, bullish or bearish, it's indifferent. What's trending now in popularity, right? And then the most viewed bearish as well, because we're not biased. It's both sides of the market we can trade, right? So then we see what's the most bearish in terms of technical analysis. So this is the home page. But really what I like to do here, I'll spend hopefully some 5 minutes because I'm running out of time, is really to go through how do I use it as like a power user, you can call it. So of course you can do a search box and put in any stock you want. And I encourage you to do so if you're logged in. But what I like to do is really dig in here on the hamburger menu. You've got the home page you're looking at right now. You got a screener where you can customize. You'll have watch lists available to you as well, and the alert center. Extremely important. It's cool. Who wants to sit here and look at charts all day besides me? I mean, that's my job, and I like doing that. And maybe you do too, but maybe you want to automate things just to help with your day because maybe you have a full-time job that's not trading, right? So if I hit on screener, now we get to some real fun here where you can customize what you're looking for. So in stocks, I can select my exchange. I can use a pre-populated list of thematic ideas, right? I like to normally use, for me, the entire S&P 500s here. I can select the industry if I'm specific on a sector. I won't do that today. And I can do bullish or bearish, right? Or all of them. Maybe I'm a bit biased. I like to select on bullish. And we're starting to get a lot of ideas here, right, of stocks that meet that simple criteria. But we can do more than that. Clicking on the filter here on the left, I can now dig into stocks, ETFs, or optionable stocks, which is a whole other discussion. I'm a big options trader. That's another whole webinar there, but I like to do stocks with options. Maybe you want to do covered calls, maybe you want to do spreads, whatever it is. It's available to you. And you can select the market cap, all, mid, small, right? I'll leave it to all for now. Maybe I'll do all for now. And then moving on, what I was talking about before with the quantamental rating, this is our proprietary stock rating methodology, which ranks all stocks on a scale of 0 to 100, and 100 being the best of the best. And we're using growth, quality, momentum, and income, all as specific factors. And we take the best ratios and the best factors in all those categories to come up with a score. So you don't have to go ahead and dig into financials. You can get the score right away, and it's got the best fundamentals behind the scenes. So if I do it, I like to do this above 50 usually. 50 to 100 is usually the best of the best in terms of fundamentals and price momentum, by the way. And then you have your time frame on the technical events. Now here, there's a lot of information of how you can pick your preferences. I like classic patterns, but you can pick the individual pattern you want. In this upward trending market, some things I like to lean towards really is you can have. Let's just pick a couple right now. Obviously, upside breakout is a big popular one. What else is kind of bullish, right? So we can do a diamond bottom. We can do a bullish continuation wedge. I'll do a couple for the example, but I do encourage you all to try it out. Triangles. I pick some classic patterns only. And because they're classic patterns, I can select a possible price move. I can say, maybe I'm a little greedy. Oh, it already remembers what I do, 15% price move, right? By doing that, it's active right away. But I can also click individual candlestick bars, hammers. These are short-term patterns and candlesticks, or I can go ahead with indicators and oscillators, moving average crossovers. Endless possibilities here. We cover so much in terms of the technicals that I encourage you all to try out and play around with. But you can see right now, I'm already building a screen, right? We have interesting names here. And I can filter whenever I want to change that. So to make it easier to see the list, next is subscribe, which I'll get to in a second. You have this chart window. This is how I use it. I like to select the chart window and I like to scan through which ones look interesting, like maybe a big bottom here happening in Reality Income Corp, Fifth Third Bank Corp's taken off, Amgen, maybe there's a rebound play, Broadcom is making almost new highs, it looks like, Norwegian Cruise Lines. This is very interesting breakout points to help find interesting opportunities, right? So you can see the power of this tool. If I'm doing my research, it does it for you, right? If I want to be, maybe I'm too selective, I can just select, basically, I'll go and change to all of them. Now a lot more come up, right? Rounded bottoms. So you can see a lot of powerful analysis happening right real time for you as soon as you click the button, right? So an interesting Microsoft. Looks like even despite the long run it's had, it's got a nice little breakout pattern. So I like this screen, right? So I have now my own methodology, USA, S&P 500 stocks that are all bullish. Now what I can do here is subscribe to it. And subscribe means activate an alert, is what it says. So if I hit this, I would say, call whatever you want, Gary's bullish classic patterns, SPX. And I hit OK. It is now in my alert center, right? And we'll get to that in a second. And this is how we automate technical analysis to help us filter ideas. Maybe now, I can change this to maybe I only care about large cap, right? And now I want to talk about trending stocks, right? I can remove the price component because it only works for classic patterns, but I can go ahead and look at indicators. Maybe I want moving average crossovers. As soon as I click on that, it's changing real time, right? So it's changing real time. Maybe I want to go shorter term, right? I will do daily, which is our shorter term time frame, to get some more actionable ideas in the short term. And maybe I like to add that with a fast stochastic for momentum. Again, we're all tied to the bullish side. So as you can see, as I'm doing this, the possibilities are almost endless on the strategies you can create to create email alerts to you. So here I can subscribe again, Gary's. All right, I'll just do Gary's MA crossovers with momentum. All right, so that's done. We'll get to that in a second, the alert center. But again, what's going to happen here when you're subscribed is that you're going to get an email either weekly or daily when something meets your criteria, or you can log into here and get the results, which we'll show you. But again, this is the most powerful tool I like to use because it's automating my research for finding trade ideas. But say you already have a stock in mind. I don't know. I think let's just say I'll search AMD because it's popular in the news today, as we saw in the news buzz. Click on AMD. You're going to have a nice deep dive into all the research and technicals. So what do you see here? There's a lot of information. In terms of performance, it's number 3 out of 115 stocks in the sector in terms of semiconductors, in terms of performance. We have short-term, intermediate-term, and long-term trends are bullish from a technical perspective, which is important to note. All these events you can click on to see what they mean. These triangles are all classic patterns, but you can also see them on the side here. You can remove this if you want just look at the chart, right? You can go ahead and customize your chart. Maybe I want to add an indicator. Sure, I can add that fast stochastic I was talking about. Boom, there it is in the chart. I can add other events. I like to use a lot of the time MACD as well. I'll add MACD, right? And then I can change the time frame, daily, weekly. Look at that bullish stochastic on a weekly chart. Pretty interesting. Scrolling down, we have support and resistance available, right? No resistance, obviously. The stock's making new highs, it looks like, but we have some support. And you can select stop prices. So if I click on stops, you can go ahead and edit those. I can create a stop by volatility, like a tight stop, and I could go ahead and change that to whatever I want, but also add an alert. So boom, AMD stop has been alerted now. So I assume I'm a long list product. I'll be alerted when something happens where it reaches my stop, which you can change, by the way. So again, this is all automating your work. And I'm always a big believer in always having a stop loss before you enter the trade. Know your exit strategy before. I see Ken asked a question. Thanks for asking questions in the chat. Can you set your own moving average numbers? No, we cover crossovers on a basic methodology. That's textbook theory. I'll show you that in a second. But again, I just want to show you how to set alerts. You can set alerts right here as well. So maybe you only follow certain stocks. AMD is one of them. If I click on the set alert, you could also do an alert. Just alert me when anytime there's a classic pattern or anytime there's a crossover or an indicator, right? So I can do a double moving average crossover as well. So I'll do both. You can change the name if you want. I like to set it the same, set alert. Now I will always be alerted to AMD events happening. Again, I can click on the upside breakout. That was a pretty clear signal. In fact, phenomenal, which already broke out on the date, February 29th. That was kind of a new idea on the breakout. We'd like to see this happen with nice momentum and MACD, which is not even near like an overbought territory. So very interesting data here, which I can watch, add to my watch list, so on and so on. So there's a lot you can do here. You can also do change the view as well, right? And get all the events for this particular stock happening. Give you a nice history. This is quite nice, actually. So you can see all the events in one time frame. So just a nice, easy way to look at it. But now we got some alert set up. That's working for us. Fantastic. And you can do this over and over again, right? So when I go in to my alert center, here we go. We have Gary's moving average crossovers, which I can activate or deactivate or delete. Or I can go ahead and take a look at my bullish classic patterns. And there's my AMD stop, and there's my AMD technical event. Again, all completely free service, which is phenomenal, where you can really start automating research for yourself to be aware of what's happening for each individual stock, watch list, indice. Really, the possibilities are quite endless here. Alerts are not SMS. I see Chris asking the question. They go through either your inbox or inside this platform by going right here, looking at right now. So no, as far as I'm aware, there's no text alerts. It's all done inside the software. But good question. I can look at my stops, my symbols. I spend a lot of time in here because if you look at mine is huge. I have so many going to automate a lot of research, right? And you can change that. You can also build your own watch lists, right? So you can add add a new one, say test, right? You can import symbols by copy paste. Apple, like you can do it one-on-one, I don't know, Meta, or you can do commas, Meta. I can do, you can do a bunch of them, MSFT, do a search in USA and pick your exchange, do a search, and you're done, right? There they are. And we give you a nice summary before you, again, wherever you look at, there's always information available to you. Even when you're building a watch list, we're giving you some critical information, what the technical picture looks like from support and resistance, and the actual bullishness or bearishness of that specific indicator. So again, this is the watch list. You can have multiple watch lists. There's my test. And the beauty here is that I can go ahead in this watch list and click on find events. Now I only have 3 stocks, but I can really find you instantly ideas, right? In terms of technicals, I can hit the chart view. Here's what's happening with my watch list right now in terms of the best technicals. Some bearish event in Apple, a nice triple moving average crossover. To focus on what Ken asked, we have a specific textbook theory of crossovers, 4-day, 9-day, 18-day, right? And this is all in your education center, by the way. You can read into this. Commodity Channel Index. I don't think I've actually used that as a professional trader in my career, but I'm sure there's some value there to those that follow that indicator. We provide them all. We're not biased, right? So the more technical bullish events, the more bullish you'll get this summary score at the top, which is quite interesting. And here we have bearish events outweigh bullish events for Meta. But again, this is all about automation and monitoring your watch list. I encourage you to create watch lists. You can create the whole S&P in here if you want. You can paste every single symbol and it'll automate it for you. Or you can delete and manage that. That's how we use it professionally. I rarely go into the homepage of Technical Views at the homepage because I already have everything automated, and I encourage you all to do so. It just helps you every day finding unique ideas. If you want to help, right, there's a help product support, tells you how this works, right? If I click on, say, AMD, right, I can go in. Again, there's an education center up top. So if I click on that, if you want to learn more about technical analysis, I encourage you to go ahead and click on, say, chart patterns. If I click on, say, an upside breakout, which I demoed earlier, it shows you what that should look like in terms of a price chart, what the considerations you should look at, the duration. All the theory is here for free at your fingertips. Short-term patterns. If I want to look at what is a hammer, right? Boom, there we go. It's a hammer pattern, which is going to show a nice boom reversal. Looks like a hammer, obviously. Again, we give full presentations on this theory as well, but all the education is here, free to use and look at. But even better, once you like a feature, like in this case, I looked at the hammer, I can go ahead and find all events in the equity market that have a hammer. That's extremely fast. And we update this every night around 7 p.m. US Eastern time. So all the time, every day. So extremely, interesting stuff where we can go ahead and activate individual screens for specific events and find out all of them that are happening. And you can do this with patterns too. If I kind of go back, I might mess up the window. No, I can go back, and if I want to do classic patterns, and I like, say, here we got a bottom wedge. Here's the education around it. Click on find events. There's a lot of them, which I like to see in this kind of market. Click on that nice chart view, and I could go ahead and focus on all these beautiful chart patterns that are happening right now. And these are confirmed patterns. We like to wait for confirmation before we enter our trades, and the pattern has developed. It doesn't mean they're all going to work out, but that's not the point of this product. It's more to bring you to the forefront which things are happening, which patterns are happening to individual stocks. And it's quite a fun way to trade, really, to do the research for you and automate things, right? Everything you need is here to empower you to make interesting trade setups. Quanterix, I have no idea what this company does, but these are nice patterns, right? So I would add these to my watch list and keep watching these. To answer the question I saw, are watch lists different than portfolio watch lists? Yes, they are, because they're specific to this product, to technical insight, your watch lists. So this is your own little research portal for stocks that you can create as many as you want, and then have them automated and alert you. You jump into your alert center and then go ahead and activate that alert or deactivate the alert. Up to you. I spend a lot of time here on this product. It's one I use so much. There's lots more I can talk about for sure, but I'll let you go ahead and play with it and really explore. You'll see how useful it really is, just to save time, which we all can use these days, of course. But I'm going past time, but I want to show one more product that's also deserves its own presentation. That is Strategy Builder. And Strategy Builder is quite unique. So on the landing page, the whole point of this product is to give you, again, more ideas in this section related to a specific theme in the marketplace. And our analyst team will drive these themes, and we'll feature new ones occasionally. You'll see a big new feature here, but we know what's been popular is we're in the market every day. So if you're looking at something like stocks for an inflationary market, that was a popular one. We have these themes and the definitions where you can follow along. And if you're trying to find stocks in a specific sector, if I click on that, you're going to get a ranking of all the stocks and the criteria based on price performance, so on and so on. But now you can really do some real digging and activate certain metrics that matter to you. Maybe PE matters to me. I can add that and I say I want to cap it at, say, 18, right? boom, it's starting to go ahead and filter for you already. So these are the top ones that meet that criteria on PE, so on and so on. But that's themes. I don't want to spend too much time there because they're self-explanatory. I think they're pretty obvious what they are. If I go back to the main page, check back, look at the new themes that we have always being launched, even some ETFs in here. We have preset screens, looking for top performance, top rated. Again, bearish class chart patterns, bullish chart patterns, endless opportunities here to help you screen for equities. And then the expert strategies is quite fun. So expert strategies, in this case, this is literally, I think, myself that builds these strategies for Firstrade as we have that partnership. But all our analyst team will build specific strategies, and I'll feature them once in a while on this page, the ones that are really outperforming, that look good. So you can see in this example, US stocks for a bear market is returning 20% if you follow the strategy. Trading Central, US proprietary strategy, we really want to put in the values that we look for when we're looking to buy or sell equities, long or short. In this case here, we have a nice historical performance. If I click on that, you can see the definition of this strategy. So here we go, head of North American Research, Gary Christie, myself, combines key fundamental value metrics with the new Trading Central quantamental rating. We talked about that briefly today. And again, this is a prefigured strategy where you can go ahead and customize it yourself. If you don't agree with the metrics, I can see all of them that I used. So in this case, I used a market cap that was quite small, up to 5 billion, optionable, common shares. You can select a trust units or preferred shares, minimum stock price, volume metrics. I mean, the possibilities are really endless here. Quantamental factor scores, right? Well, I will tell you in this what it means to use these, and a percentage change from 52-week high, which I like to use. You can add more or remove some, right? Totally customizable here. But it's going to give you a top match list ranked in order of the best stocks in this. And again, you can have as many of these as you want. So in this case, you can also go ahead and export to Excel. And what I like to do is export to Excel, and then I can highlight and import those into Technical Insight. So you can have a technical screen on top of that. So I jump right in technicals from the watch list from the export. Again, I'm more of maybe a power user. I use this for my research every day. And that's kind of, I want to share with you the flow we do. So I created a quick strategy, and then you can go ahead, click on Modine, and then realize, why is it an outperformer or ranked 1? Here's why. A brief description of the company, options available, vehicles and parts. But then you can go back down here and look at the historical performance and play around with it, right? So you can, and then the whole point here is to go ahead and fine tune your strategy to see if you can outperform the buy and hold or sell short. You can compare it to a different index if you want, to the Dow, so on and so on. And you can really see the history of how it performs. This is really powerful. I mean, this is a free back tester to really test out your strategy. So again, this is one that's pre-populated that I made, right? But you can go ahead, discover new ones, right? And you can go ahead and make your own, right? So if I go ahead here, you can discover your top ranked stocks. I won't go through all of this, but you can go ahead right away. If you have some screens, it will be all saved here. I don't have any. This is a demo account, but if I click on start screening, we have some default options available to you, like price performance, stock price. Then I'll just go in and start adding things like quantamental rating. Okay, so quantamental rating, I want at least 50 out of 100. Boom. As I add things, you'll see my total results will change. More criteria. Maybe I care, well, I do care, debt to equity in a high rate environment. All right, I can cap this at 1. And again, in a split second, I'm narrowing my results. And I like to have about, 15 to 30 names on average before I do a back test. More stocks, the better for a back test. I could keep adding more. I could add dividend yield. And here I'll just do a minimum, say minimum 2%. Boom, brings it down to 259 names, so on and so on. This is, again, just a quick example, but if I click on calculate, I can name the screen like test 1 or wherever I want, hit OK. Let's give it a second. I'll have a quick sip of coffee. And as it's updating, it's creating a portfolio in real time. As it's loading up here, I'll look at some questions here. Yes, I think this is, I believe it's being recorded. Yes. Can you automatically create watches from your portfolio positions? I'm hoping that's coming down the line soon. not yet at the moment. It's all manually done. So, but thanks for the questions. I know we're coming up to the hour, which is went faster than I thought. I think I squeezed most things in here, but here we go. Here's an example of the brain working, and this is pretty close to S&P. Again, I just took some random variables, and I got a pretty half decent screen here over 5 years. Annualized return 11% versus 13 for the S&P 500, and you can see how that works on the chart, right? So pretty neat. I love this feature. And even for short term, you can see how it reacts in the short term time frame, so on and so on. And the fun part is I'll go back in, add or remove a feature. If I delete one, let's say, I can go ahead and recalculate. I could say no debt to equity requirement, just so I remember what I changed. And here we go again, calculating returns. And this is pretty much what I do a lot of the time of the day, trying to make phenomenal strategies to help with my research. It looks like by removing that, I lost 1%. So that's good to know that debt to equity does matter, right? But I had a better 1 month return. Interesting. So this is how my brain works when I'm looking at testing strategies out. It's really endless possibilities. You can fall down the rabbit hole for a long time and trying to pick strategies and play around with it. I encourage everyone to do so. It is really fun. Again, you can save these. If I go ahead and click on save, I can create the name. I had a bunch I've done before, a description. And the important thing here is you can create alerts as well. So when I'm following the strategy and I want to be alerted, I could be alerted daily, weekly, or monthly. I like to use weekly because I'm more passive on this screen, but you can definitely do daily. Put in an email address, all right? It wants to be sent to you, save screen. I'll have to put an email to make it work, but then of course you can go in and manage your watch lists, manage your alerts and your screens. They'll all be here under the star menu, right? So yeah, so that's the quick rundown of Strategy Builder. It really is about building a strategy and trying to outperform the market, right? Again, you have an alerts. There's a product support as well. How are they ranked? How accurate is the back testing? I won't go into all of this because I just went over the hour here. But that's all the tools. I think there's more than enough to go ahead and really get a start in the day and start really trying to outperform that market. Another one I use, again, not a trading central product by any means, but critical to understand what Firstrade has provided to you is the context of the market, right? A heat map, right? So 1 week heat map is what I like to use. You can see what's been trending or not. Tesla's getting a little bit hurt, but over 1 day. Again, all about idea generation in terms of sector performance and industries. Everything's here that you need to see how sectors are performing. We're trying to empower the user to have the best possible chance of success. When you do well, we do well, right? So, and I got to commend Firstrade for having all these products from us, just to show that we want users to be empowered to make their own decisions and not have to rely on an expert advisor or so on. And it has to be fun and engaging. So that we'll just wrap it up there because there's a lot I talked about. Hopefully this will be available to you, but I'll be back with more presentations and I'll do a more deeper dive into technicals, Strategy Builder itself, so on and so on. There's so much to talk about. It's an exciting time in the market for sure, and I encourage you all to check back and follow along with the upcoming presentations. But I thank you all for presenting today. That's my time. I'll give a quick couple minutes to see if there's any more questions coming through the line. I know I'm taking over your lunch, so thank you for that. I'm always impressed to see people take their own time out of their own day, their own clock time from the working day to learn more about investing and tools available to you. So I commend you all on that. Thank you very much.